Welcome back to the Creepypasta Files. Today, as suggested by Mr. Scarypasta, we're covering Sonic.exe. Coming up in the following episodes is I Can't Look at Mickey Mouse the Same Way Anymore, and The Real Chuck E. Cheese, as suggested by He Told You and Jamir? I'm gonna say Jamir. Jamir. I have some mixed feelings about today's episode. Sonic.exe is so popular, it's become something of a joke nowadays, and it's filled with some of the most common cliches in modern internet short horror stories. As well, there's not as much to speculate about as with other creepypastas. It kind of just tells you at the end. So I'll give a brief synopsis, like I do in all my other stories, and then, instead of theorizing, I'll analyze what it is that made Sonic.exe so popular, and why it's so much of a joke now. The story starts with our storyteller getting a letter in the mail from their friend. Their friend tells them to destroy the CD that's in the envelope before it's too late. He is too fast for him, and will kill our storyteller if he doesn't destroy the disc. I can already tell why it's somewhat a joke. Too fast for him. Instead of destroying it, our storyteller's curiosity gets the better of him, and he boots up the CD in his computer. The CD has the word Sonic.exe written on it in Sharpie. The game contained inside the disc appears at first to be the first Sonic game. However, at the menu screen, things begin to glitch and distort. Our storyteller plays through distorted and creepy versions of Sonic levels, playing first as Tails, then Knuckles, then Eggman. Each time the characters break the fourth wall, looking paranoid and concerned, traversing the hellish and sometimes utterly disturbing versions of the game's levels. Finally, at the end for each one, an evil, bleeding, and distorted Sonic appears, seemingly killing or torturing them. Finally, Sonic turns on our storyteller, lunging at the screen. Our storyteller has a nightmare of Sonic toying with him like he did the other characters, and finally, when our storyteller tries to boot up his computer again, the game being stuck inside, he hears Sonic's voice from behind him say, "Try to keep this interesting for me, Tom." He turns and sees a Sonic plushie with bleeding eyes sitting behind him. Okay, let's take a look at the story. By the end of the story, our poster has pretty much told you this Sonic is an all-controlling god who likes to torment those beneath him, and his hell dimension is accessed through a portal that is the game. Okay, that clears that up. So why is this story such a cliche and joke, and what did it inspire throughout creepypasta culture? Well, the first thing it inspired, and subsequently turned into a joke, were EXE games. In the beginning, these recreations of Sonic.exe and spin-offs like Mario.exe and the like were at the very least unique. However, questionable quality and oversaturation of these games, with little to no difference, turned off the scary for most people, and the cliched and basic gameplay pattern became a joke. Not to say Sonic.exe was the first EXE story, I'm not entirely sure if it is, but it's one of the most popular. Also, not to say that there haven't been some interesting or unique EXE games. It's just that the overabundance of poor quality ones made them an easy target for jokes. Next, let's take a look at the end. We don't really get a resolution. Our main character has essentially been taken victim by Sonic, and Sonic has now entered the real world. So how did our poster write and publish this? Why would he not follow up about how he escaped or something like that? When writing something as if it were a real post, these leaps of logics are pretty easy to see. It doesn't really make an attempt at seeming real or even following its own world logic. The writer had some good ideas in here, but the leap at the end makes it hard to take seriously. Abandoned by Disney, for example, gives you all the reasons and ways the poster published these stories, even after the Disney Corporation is after him. It makes sense. This story, not so much. Finally, let's talk about what is possibly the biggest offender. One of the biggest cliches in creepypastas of this ilk and era is the phrase, "except it looked hyper-realistic." That phrase is used 4 times in this story. It's used in other EXE stories, it's used in Squidward Suicide, and countless more. It's too cliche at this point. Whether it was the first or just another to use this, I don't know, but phrases and cliches like that ruin what could be a terrifying story. There are ways for things to be scary without adding hyper-realistic blood or human eyes to things. And as the story aged and the cliches around it grew and grew, it's no wonder the story is more funny than scary in many people's eyes. So, what did you think of this episode of Creepypasta Files? I promise I'll be back to the regular style in the next one. I just found this to be an interesting case study in classic creepypasta. Tell me your thoughts or story suggestions on what I should cover next in the comments. Best comment will be pinned. See you all next time. When you're watching Smosh and your mom walks in... When you're watching Smosh and your mom walks in on the part when it says shut up.